Welcome to the Peerless YouTube. I am Caitie North, and today we are going to be making a color mixing chart of the Peerless Watercolors Complete Edition with the 15 original colors and the original booklet that was made over 100 years ago. So we are doing 15 colors, but we are also doing the dark saturated section and then the same color for a pastel section. So instead of 15 by 15, we do 16 by 16, and you can keep it the original squares. Right here, I am going to be doing a million circles, and that is because I like the aesthetic of it, and you definitely don't have to do that. But if you would like to do that, I am doing that. So next step, we will lay down our first colors. And so that first circle on the very top, directly underneath the brilliant yellow, we are going to be using the most true saturated heavy pigment amount of the brilliant yellow in that top circle. And then immediately under it is more of a slightly diluted version, and then the corresponding brilliant yellow on the other list on this other side of the sheet, which is the left-hand column, is going to be a pastel version of brilliant yellow. And so as you're working across, you're using your complete edition booklet, and you're just simply flipping to the next page. So you start with brilliant yellow, you go to deep yellow, a very saturated amount, and then that diagonal starting to the bottom, a diluted amount, and then the pastel version. The next color you will be doing is the orange yellow, very saturated, and the diagonal towards the right hand corner is the diluted version, and then the pastel version. The next one you're going to be doing is the flesh tint, and you're just working your way. I did directly out of the Peerless pack. So usually I think I probably would start with more of a red in that corner just to kind of give it a nice like rainbow effect starting from the top to the bottom. But to make it simple, straight from your pack the way that you would get it in the mail from Peerless, and just simply going from the front of the pack to the back of the pack and knowing exactly which color is going to come next in your color chart. And it's also going to be very helpful to use the same pattern the way that it comes to get familiar with it from the paints, firstly, but then also to when we start mixing the paints together and keeping them in order, it's going to be very helpful as well. So now we are ready to mix our tones. How we are going to be doing this is kind of being a dollop of each tone and a dollop of the corresponding tone in the column next to it. And you're going to be aiming for a 1-to-1 ratio. So for this first one, we are going to be doing the brilliant yellow and the deep yellow. So once you have those kind of highly saturated circle amounts of each tone, you're able to mix them together, and that is going to be your darker, more vibrant tone. And then in the other corresponding circle for those two tones, you are going to add a little bit of water to your puddle to make it the pastel version. So as you're going along, you want to start with the color on the top that you're working with, and then diagonal move down, and then to the corresponding color you're going to do that same thing pretty much over and over again. You want to create a circle amount of paint, and then the circle amount of paint in the same size of the next color that you are going to be mixing. And then you should wipe off any extra between the colors, because sometimes if you have extra paint on your brush, that means that it's going to be a little bit more pigmented in that color. So to get the truest amount, you wet your brush, get a pigment amount, make a circle, same size, wipe the extra paint off, make your second circle, same size, wipe your extra paint off, and then you are able to mix those together. That is your more saturated, darker version. And then once you've filled in that first circle, the corresponding pastel circle, you're going to add a few drops of water and then mix it together again for your pastel. So continue in this way until you finish all of your circles. And then one thing I do right away, and I'll actually show it in the next clip, is write all of the names of the paints in order. Even though you have them written on the top, it's going to be way more helpful to have them written on the left-hand column as well, just as a quick reference, just so you don't have to, like, you know, second guess yourself. Like, it'll be easier there. So you can see when it moves to the next clip that I have gone ahead and written all of the names in the left side. So once we kind of get on a little bit more of going a little bit faster, another tip that I found very helpful is not using my small mixing palette, because I feel like I had to wash it pretty frequently, is that I moved to, there we go, right here, the giant ceramic plates that I have. And when you start working with like the next, paint in the column, and then you have like a number of paints that can go all the way down that that you're going to be mixing with it, I actually make like, like this one's like 7 or 8 puddles of green, but I make all of my puddles of green down first, and so I know that I have like all of that already done, and I don't have to do it every single time and wash all of the paint in between. And it just helps, and it sped up the process, and you can see now with like the time lapse too, it goes significantly faster. And yeah, that was probably my number one tip for you guys. So, and there we go. That is our completed watercolor mixing chart for the Peerless Watercolors Self-Blending Colors Complete Edition with the original 15 colors. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.